Hi everyone, my name is Giovanna Proença, and today we're going to do the project Café Menu of freeCodeCamp in the part of responsive web design. So basically in this project we're going to do a menu for coffee, okay? So here we're going to have this background of a coffee. Here we have this inner part. It seems like a flyer, right? And here we have the name of the items and the price. This is basically what we're going to do, okay? This is a preview. So let's start coding. So basically in this project we're going to do exactly like we did for the previous project of freeCodeCamp, okay? We're going to follow some steps and we're going to start building some things. Here they're expecting that you already did the cat photo app, so if you didn't, go back to cat photo app. We have a video solution for this project, and then you're more than prepared to start doing it here. So basically we have to start creating the doc type HTML. So here we're going to say what is the type of the file we're creating to our browser. So we're going to tell Google Chrome and Mozilla or Microsoft Edge that the type of the page that we're creating will be in an HTML. And then we have to open up the HTML tag, HTML, and we're going to say what is the language in here, English, okay? Then remember to close your HTML tag. So if we check, we passed everything, great. So far we have nothing in here, but now we're going to start creating the head. Remember that an HTML file is made with a head and a body. The head is the part that is not visual, so we're going to create some links. And the body is everything that we can see in the page, all right? So in here, we're going to create the head, all right? And inside this head, we're going to have the title. If you remember from the previous video, basically the title, it's the title of the tab, okay? So this Café Menu will be the title of the tab that will appear, for example, in here, if we were working with a real project. Then we need this meta tag that will give this value of char set. If I can be truth, I don't even know what is the purpose of this, like why we must use, but they are telling us to use, so we're going to use it here. Then we can actually start creating our body. So after the head, we create the body, okay? And again, the body is everything that is visual. So far, anything in here, but from now on, everything we're going to type in the body will be visual. Then now we're going to add our heading. So if you remember from the previous video, we have 6 types of heading, and I'm going to display here again. So we have the H1, okay, that is the most important part of our code, and we can change here to other numbers. So if I put this 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we see that if we increase the number of the heading, H1, H2, the size of the letters are smaller. So basically the H1, it's more focused on the importance of the title in our page, okay? So H1 is the most important one, and the H6 is the last important one, okay? So in this case, we're going to use the H1 they're telling us to use, and we're going to display this Camper Café here that they are telling, Camper Café. And now we can see this Camper Café. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now we're going to have a paragraph. So besides working with headings, we can have paragraphs, and we're going to have this EST.2020, okay? And here we can see a paragraph, all right? So a paragraph is like a regular paragraph in texts. Then we're going to put all of this here inside of a header, okay? So we can have a header. Basically, the header will be kind of like a header of news. When we have some news in the television. Basically, the header is like the most important part in here that we can have. So here we're going to have header, and inside we're going to have an H1, and then we're going to close here with header as well. So if we check our code, nothing will change, but it's important to start organizing our page in a way that it's easier for our code to understand what is more important, what is the other sessions. So we're going to start splitting into multiple sessions. Okay, so we're going to add a main session below the header. So this will be the main part of our code, okay? The header of the page, and then we're going to have the other content. Okay, nothing is displaying here, but we're starting to divide our page into multiple pieces. Basically, in the main we can have multiple sessions, all right, and we can separate by the content, like in a regular, if you think about a magazine as well. So here we have one session, okay? You can think a page like a magazine if you want. Then we're gonna have an H2, so it's less important than the Camper Café, and this heading will be coffee, okay? So we're gonna have here a heading called coffee, like we're seeing right now. So now we're gonna add some styles. So from now on, in the previous project, we were working only with structuring the page, but right now we wanna give some style. We wanna change the color, we wanna display in a different part, all right? We wanna make it look nice. So here in the head, we're gonna create a style tag where we're gonna add some CSS. Basically, CSS, it's the, if we try it out, we did it correctly. Basically, the CSS, it's something that we normally use with HTML, where we can give some styling. So we can change the color, we can change the size of the font, we can change the font family, we can change the where it's displayed, if we want to put in the center, in the end, in the bottom. So it's really good to work with CSS together. And we normally work with this way. We create a name for the element. For example, here, they want us to change the H1, and we can use the property, in this case, test alignment, and the give a value center. So for example, here, if I put H1 and I open it up the curly bracket, and if I put here text align center, we're gonna see here our H1 in the center. And we can play around. If we want to put in the right, it will go to the right. If we want to put this in the left, it will go to the left, okay? But in this case, they want us to put in the center, so the H1 is in the center. So like you can see, the style will allow us to play around with whatever we want. The next one, we want to use the H2, and we want to center the H2 and the paragraph. So here we're going to do an H2, text align center, and we want to do the same for the paragraph. So we're going to do text align center. All right, and if we take a look, now everything is in the center. Why is this happening? Oh, I've put a semicolon instead of a colon. Okay, so now everything is in the center, great. Now, one thing that we can do, since all of these three elements, they have the same property, we can put all of them together. Instead of separating into three, we can remove this and we can put all of them together. So we can just separate them by a comma. So H1, H2, and P. And now all of them have the same property. So it's really good to save up some time, some lines of code, okay? What we can do, instead of creating everything in our index like we were doing in here, we can create a separate file called styles.css. Okay, in our styles.css, we can add all the CSS that we're doing. Instead of doing the HTML file, we create a separate file to do this. So in here, we're gonna add the tags that we did. So we can go from here and we can copy this, what we just did in HTML, and we can paste in here, okay? Let me fix here the indentation. Great, if we check we did it correctly. Now we need to make a relationship between this and the other property. So now I'm gonna remove this style, okay? So instead of doing all this style in here, so we remove the style, we're gonna make a link between the index.html with the styles.css. So to do this, we're gonna use a link, rel equals to style sheet, because this means that we're working with a file that will style our page, and the href will tell what is the file we're gonna link, and the name of the file is the styles.css, okay? And then we close. Now, like we can see, it's all related to each other. They are in the middle, okay? Let's go to the next step. So now here we can add this following meta blah 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 that will tell that we're working with a device in this way, okay? And we can change in here. Great, these are just standard things. And now we can work with the body. So we're gonna work with the body element, okay? And we're gonna put everything brown. So we're gonna change using the background color property, and we're gonna put here brown, and our code will understand that we want brown, okay? And we can use different colors, there's no problem. Then you can check your code, and here we're gonna have this element to change the color to burly wood. So we can change here to this burly wood, okay? And now it looks a little bit nicer. To take a look. Let me see. Great. Then we can work with divs. So we have the sessions, but we also have divs there where we can separate the page, okay? So basically here we're gonna use a div to separate our body. So we're gonna separate our body into different divs. So here we're gonna add a div element inside the body element and then move all the other elements inside the new div. So let's try it out. We're gonna have a div in here. Then I'm gonna put all of this inside of this div. And then I'm gonna close the div in here. So here we're creating a new division. And why we're doing this division? We're gonna see in a bit that in this division we wanna put the color brown, and outside we wanna use the image of the coffee, if you remember from the beginning of the video, okay? So now the goal is to make the video not the entire width, but we wanna use a different width. So here instead of body, we're gonna use div, okay? And we're gonna change the width to 300 pixels. All right, and if we take a look now, 300 pixels we have in here. Let's check the code. Perfect. Then we can add some comments the same way we can comment in our code in HTML using the angular bracket, exclamation mark, dash, dash, and close this way. But in CSS, here we use this / star / to close. So here we're gonna say background color. We're gonna comment this out actually. We're not gonna write anything else. We're gonna comment this background color. Okay, we're gonna do this. So when we comment out, we remove the color from this background color. Okay, now we're gonna use the existing div selector and we're gonna add the background color burly wood. So here we're gonna say background color burly wood. And why is that? Because here we want to make this as this background color and the body we want the image of the coffee. Okay, that's why we're doing this. Now we want to change the width to make this responsive to 80%. Instead of using pixels we can use percentage, and it's pretty better than using pixels because depending on the size of the screen it will also be adjusted with this. Okay, and now I believe we're going to add some margin. So here we're going to have a margin left auto and a margin right auto as well. And this way we're going to stay exactly in the middle of the page. Do you see? Now we are exactly in the middle. Great. Then we can start creating this class name. So basically we can use the name of the tag, div, body, h1, h2, or we can give a name for this property. So instead of saying div, we can say that this div we can give a class name of, instead of saying div, because if we use div in other places, the style will be the same. So here we can use the dot and we're gonna give a name of menu, okay? And right now we're not having this relationship, but right now we're gonna link this menu in here. So in the div here, we're gonna give a class equals to menu. So now we're connecting our CSS with our HTML, okay? We're giving some identifiers. Oh, so that div, I'm giving the name of menu. So that div with name menu, I wanna add this styling. This is the idea, okay? Now for the body, we wanna add the background image. We don't want to have a background color. We want to add the background image of that cafe image. So we're going to use this thing here, URL, and it will give us the URL of an image. Like we can see here, we have this coffee image, okay? And you see, if I change the size of the screen, the 80% will remain the same. That's pretty good, all right? So that's it for this body. Now we're gonna create an empty article element under coffee, so we can create some articles as well. The same way as we have the session, we can separate our page into articles. Like I said, always think about HTML like in a magazine. We have multiple words that are pretty similar. Inside of this article, we want 2 paragraphs. One paragraph, we're gonna tell here the French vanilla, and the other paragraph we want to say what is the price. Okay, so here I'm going to say 300. And if we take a look, they are in a column, but later we're going to put them everything in the same row. So like we're seeing here this way. What are we going to do? We're going to do the same again. So we're going to add all of this in the same position that we have in there. So basically we're going to do this article again with 2 paragraphs, but a couple of times. So we're going to have for caramel macchiato, pumpkin spice, hazelnut, and mocha. Then we're going to change the name in here. So in here I'm going to change to caramel macchiato, and here I'm going to put 3.75. Then for pumpkin here, pumpkin is spice, and this will be 350. Then here it will be hazelnut. The hazelnut cookie, it's my favorite. And the last one, I forgot what is the name here, mocha, and it will be $4. So basically here the article is splitting into small pieces. We can't see actually, but in the future we're gonna see how it works. So it's saying mocha, it's $4.50, not $4. And now we're passing. So now we're gonna add the class flavor for the French vanilla. So here we're gonna add a class flavor, okay? And again, we're giving the name for this paragraph. Right now we can't see anything, but in the future, if we wanna work with some style CSS that we're gonna do right now, we're gonna use this flavor name. So here, dot flavor. And I wanna do this text align left. So I wanna put this in the left, like we're seeing here. Okay, so we're seeing here just for French vanilla so far, because this is the only one we added the flavor. But for the other ones, like I can already imagine, we're gonna add for the other ones as well. But now let's give a class price. So we're calling all the paragraph that the class price, we're gonna put now in the right. Okay, so here price will be in the text align right. Okay, and that's good because like we can see here, we're putting the name in the left and the price in the right. And we're gonna continue working with them. So now we're going to put the styling in blah, blah, blah. And we're gonna give a class item in the article to put them everything in the same line. So here class equals to item. Okay, and let's see, nothing changed. But now we're gonna use this display inline block. So here we're gonna have a dot item p. Okay, so we're saying I want to change the paragraphs inside my item article. So I want to change the paragraph French vanilla and price here, the 3. And I want to do a display inline block. And what the display inline block will do, we're gonna put everything in the same line, like we can see in here. All right. Then we want to change here the width to 50%. So we want to split here that the width for each will be 50%. So basically we're stipulating that I want the French vanilla in this part and the price in the other part. So width here will be 50%. Okay, let me see, width, great. And now we're gonna change a little bit. Here it's changing the width value for each, so to 49. Let's see what happens. Here they are crashed. One is in one line and the other one is the other one. But if I put here 49 and 49, now they are in the same line again. That's good. This is what we want to do. Okay, and now we're going to make sure there is no space between them. So how are we gonna do this? We're gonna instead use the back key space or a back keyboard to move p paragraph with the same. So we're gonna put them in the same line. I think this is it. Great, this is what we have to do. And now we're gonna change again to 50. So it's important to notice that we're just putting them in the same line, and now if we put 50, 50, it stays in the same line. So we kind of have to be aware of this little trick. Okay, now we're gonna add this article. We're gonna change the article to items for all of them, now that we noticed that in the French vanilla it worked. So we're gonna add this class item for all of the other articles we have. Okay, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do Command D in here. So if I grab here Command D, it will change all of them at the same point. Class equals to item. Okay, we're adding all of them in the same. Sorry, it doesn't work. Let's see what just happened. I think I did a mistake. Okay, class equals to item. Now I think it worked. Now we can see them in the same line, right? And now we're gonna add the paragraph, the position P. We're gonna put the paragraph all in the same line for all the items we added. So we're doing the same fixings that we did for the French vanilla. And like we can see now, they are this way. And we're gonna add now the class flavor and price for each one of them. So here class equals to flavor. I'm gonna add this class equals to flavor to all of the coffees that we have in here. And now the price for all of the prices we have in here. Okay, so